Shahira Gardner founded Finch to simplify financial management for millennials, integrating it into their lifestyle. She talks about a generation that is curious, willing to challenge the status quo, but express themselves in very different ways.
We're tackling a problem that needs to be solved. So for now, it definitely quenches our thirst and hunger for to make a difference and to make an impact in the lives of millennials and their finances. I hope it allows me to build the business and scale the business to the point where it's successful on its own and it lives and breathes its own life and its own story and its own customers without me.
Yep, nice. And your husband feels the same? You've got a similar goal?
I think so. I hope so.
You'll find out soon enough.
That's an interesting question. I think that's something that puzzles and conflicts a lot of founders because, of course, we have to be very patient inherently to grow a business and see it succeed. But at the same time, I think the ultimate goal always is to reach a point in your life or in your business when you can step away and you can reap the rewards of that success. We've seen generations before us do things poorly, and we don't want to make those same mistakes again. And so what may come across as irresponsible or self-entitled or impulsive is actually, for me, in my opinion anyway, a generation that is curious, that is willing to challenge the status quo, that is adventurous and ambitious in their own right, but are expressing it in very different ways that can be interpreted differently by other generations. There's absolutely merit in kind of old school ways, and I think some of that will never be replaced. And the challenge now is how do we, educate and inspire a generation with some of the core principles that have worked for us in decades past, with kind of the new way of doing things. What has perhaps changed or again been interpreted differently is this value for transparency and authenticity. If you don't get in the beginning, it would be very difficult to build that rapport with millennials. It goes back to if you can understand and again, I'll just remove millennials because I don't think it's specific to millennials. I think it's specific to everyone. All healthy workplaces will want to know what drives and motivates their employees. And that means sitting them down and getting to know them as people, getting to know what drives them, what do they value, where do they see themselves, what is their path, what is their growth sort of trajectory within the company. Yeah. When people are excited to come to work and they believe in the work they do and believe in the vision of the company, they're not tough to manage. They're not seeking constant validation because they're empowered. They know that they're valued employees of your company.
Nice.
I don't think it's necessarily specific to millennials. I think it's specific to this generation of workers from age 20 right through to retirement age who are also exposed to different ways of working. Their value system has changed. They're wanting to achieve this work-life balance. They're wanting their employees to empower them. They're wanting to be motivated and inspired. And so as a corporate or any company, it's absolutely in your best interest to know what motivates your employees. If you want high-performing employees, then it's not rocket science. You find out what it is that gets that fire in the belly.
You can have someone in a full-time role in a corporate company and be doing part-time work as a freelancer, or could be doing entrepreneurial things in the evening. They're not captured. They're captured as a full-time employee,
right,
which by definition skews the stats. So the whole ability to measure it, I think, is definitely flawed.
I agree. And that's a huge, when you talk about taking the leap from full-time corporate and full-time entrepreneurship, there is a massive pool of people in that transition phase that absolutely should be recognised because, You don't just wake up one day, not everyone has the risk profile to quit their full-time jobs when they've got families and kids to feed and other, often financial commitments that prevent them from doing that. The talent, the experience, the ambition, the drive, all of that stuff really comes from an individual and their willingness to learn, their willingness to take the risk, their willingness to fail. But, for me, that's one of the most critical skills or characteristics of an entrepreneur. You have to be prepared to be wrong a lot. You have to be open to other people's perspectives. You have to be ready to be challenged. You could find the finest entrepreneurs based on experience and no formal learning, course learning at all.
Well, thank you.